And I know exactly how I'd have felt had that been my family member or what I wanted to do, what I would want to do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that don't have to be my family member for me to feel that way. I'm mad for that woman. That right there is ridiculous.
But that's why people go crazy and go riot in the street, because they feel, because exactly what Tiffany was saying. Like, it's empathy, man. It's just human empathy.
Mushed sandwich. Let's talk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something a little more sensitive. So, what do you say? Trigger warning. Something recently happened that just had my blood boiling. The lady in Chicago who was handcuffed, naked in her own home. The police used, I believe, a no-knock warrant to break down her door while she was naked. She had just got home from work. The lady name was Anjanette Young. I'm actually going to play a video so you guys can see what we're talking about. But y'all saw the video already, right?
Yeah. This happened like 2 years ago, though, right?
I think it was a year ago.
Something like that or whatever.
Yeah. I think because the mayor tried to, well, I don't know if the mayor did it herself, but like her office tried to suppress the video. They didn't want it to go out in public.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I'm gonna play the video real quick. When you see the video, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, yo, why is this still happening? After all the Black Lives Matter, protest, after all the riots, why is this still happening, right? What do y'all think?
You remember, like, once upon a time back in the day, bullies, when they would pick on certain individuals that couldn't fight for themselves or they had nobody to support them or whatever it may be. They never messed with anybody who had older brothers that was tough or who was tough themselves. There was just certain people they knew they just couldn't mess with. And I think when it comes to police, it's the same type of situation. They know who they can mess with and they know who they can't mess with. Black people is somebody that people feel the need that they can mess with. Like, they can bully because there's nobody that's going to be able to stand up for them. They already know, like, how it is. Like, no matter what they do, it's our word against theirs. They can do whatever to us and get away with it. We are just out there for people's amusement to bully, to do whatever too. And that right there is just another example, because that's possibly somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's, whatever. That's somebody's family member.
Yep.
I mean, and to what they did to that woman, that's something that, let alone even just being handcuffed. She was embarrassed, humiliated. Like, she's never going to forget that. She's never going to forget that. And these are the type of things where I feel like when a retaliation happened, you can't go too far. Because if somebody does that to your moms, you thinking out of the world type of, response and ways to respond to when an individual or individuals do something like that to your moms.
Yeah.
Couldn't nobody tell you to chill, you can't do that, like, that's too far or whatever. Nah. That right there is insane.
And that's why, like, when people riot, they go, oh, why are you guys rioting? This is going too far. That goes right to what you just said. Like, when this has been happening so much over the years, right? At some point, you reach a boiling point and you just explode.
Yeah.
You do explode. You definitely do explode. But no, go ahead, Tiffany, before I say what I was going to say. But go ahead, Tiffany.
And I just think about the fact that the reason why the phrase Black Lives Matter was even coined is because the reality is that there's just a complete disregard, a complete lack of value, a complete, like, for a lot of white folks, Black people are on the level of an animal. And then a dog, actually, you look at Michael Vick, a dog has more value than a Black life. And it's just white supremacy or I think more accurately, white insecurity or toxicity is so deeply embedded in the fabric of this country that there's no framework or there's no paradigm under which white folks can even understand the marginalization, the humiliation, the state-sanctioned violence that Black folks are subject to. It's just outside of their imagination. And so when they are going in that rate, and you hear that woman saying 43 times, you have the wrong house. And she's saying it with such passion. And they're like, they're telling her basically like, you doing too much. And she's completely violated every single word. They're not thinking that could be their grandmother or their mother. They're thinking this is a dog on the street, or this is a rat on the street.
Not at all. And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about that? Once upon a time, like, if feds kick in your door, 9 times out of 10, they had the right house, because they were doing enough dirt. They were digging up enough dirt on whoever they were looking for, that when they come into your crib, there's no mistaking it.
Yeah.
There's no mistaking it. It's too much times now. It's like they're just saying F it. Like, supposedly somebody told them that this was the house. They didn't even make sure they crossed their T's and dot their I's. They just went and they just ran up in that crib. You know what I'm saying?
The thing that's infuriating, to your point, is that the guy they were looking for
was easy to find as well. It was not like he was hard to find.
No, he had a device.
Right or something like that, right?
But he had an actual device on.
Yeah. He was tracking device. Yeah, right.
So, like to your point, they didn't dot their T's and dot their I's and cross their T's, because how hard could that be? You haven't.
They didn't try.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't try. They didn't even care. And for them to just, when that woman was going off the way she was, and for them to, and they had that look of embarrassment on their face, as if, what they did was far worse. Wasn't as worse, and as far as the way they was feeling was worse than the feeling that she was going through. You know what I'm saying? You can, as a cop, you can kick in the wrong door and wake up tomorrow and forget what you did. That woman will never forget what happened to her. Not a day is gonna go by that she's not gonna forget that. And for them, and when it comes to police, they have higher ups who cover, who help. Like, you know what? We're gonna fix this. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. They continue to F up so much that they have a side organization that help clean that up for them, so that, they don't really get in trouble. And I'm like, at this point, there's a lot of stuff I can say or whatever the case is, but it's not really about saying it. It's more about action, because right now, that right there, that's not my family member, but that very well could have been my family member. Yeah, and I know exactly how I'd have felt had that been my family member, or what I wanted to do, what I would want to do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that don't have to be my family member for me to feel that way. I'm mad for that woman. That right there is ridiculous.
But that's why people go crazy and go riot in the street, because they feel, because exactly what Tiffany was saying. Like, it's empathy, man. It's just human empathy. It's like, if I see that happen to a woman, you're supposed to feel something. And a lot of these cops don't feel that. They feel like, oh, this can't be my grandma. This can't be my sister, my wife. This is like something other.
Right. And it's, you absolutely right about that, because look, if a cop gets shot in the street, all of them is gonna want to dumb out on whoever possibly did it. They gonna look for whoever they did that.
Absolutely.
They gonna go on a manhunt for whoever shot a cop. They don't even have to kill a cop. Just the fact that they shot a cop and he's in the hospital laid up, but from them gunshot wounds, they gonna sit there and search the planet for the person that pulled that trigger. So if you understand something like that, how you think we gonna feel by you doing that to one of our family members? Yeah, that's just a code. Matter of fact, you riding out like that for a person that's just in your organization. You don't even know that person, but just because on the strip that they're a cop, you gonna go off like that. But you mean to tell me that's my family member? How you expect me to want to react? If you can act like that about a coworker, what you think I'm gonna want to do about a family member?
Yeah, and that makes me think of how recently Barack Obama came under fire for criticizing the language of defund the police. And it's like, he knows very well what the meaning and intention behind it. But it's like, it's no more room for us playing safe and trying not to offend somebody. The police are not, and I say this, very transparently as somebody who was raised by a police officer, but still has this feeling in this belief system that it's just, at this point, it's completely out of control. And you can't even point to the few who are doing the right thing. Like, if people always use the example, if a few pilots are going around killing people, then pilots need to be held accountable. The training needs to be shifted. Something needs to be completely shifted.
That's a fact.
There's something going wrong.
That's a fact. The moment one pilot does some effed up ish, he's under federal, observation. They're gonna look into everything to see if he was drunk, all that shit or whatever, because we can't have that. You mean to tell me if you're gonna go through that type of diagnosis for a cop, for a pilot, there might have been some foul play and him crashing a plane or whatever, we can't do that type of shit for police?
The bar is too low.
Fuck, hell yeah.
And so my thing is, not only do we need to defund the police, but we need to take the perspective that the Black Panthers held. We need to brandish weapons and we need to protect ourselves, because they are not doing the function they're designed to do. They're not protecting us. They are our biggest threat out here in these streets.
Not at all. I was saying, what needs to happen? Anytime the police do something that's because look, they all have oaths that they have to sit up and then swear by, and they have to live under. Anytime they break any of that, it should come out of the police pension. And I bet you, or whatever, when that happens or whatever, all them cops are gonna start holding each other accountable. I remember I said that to a cop. They looked at me crazy, like, are you crazy coming out of police front? Yeah, you see how your face frowned up when I said that? Yeah, I bet you hold your man accountable, because if he get caught doing the negative, that's coming out of your pocket now.
I mean,
you know what though? I'm sorry, Marcel, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that could be an idea. I mean, I doubt that would ever fly, but it's
no, because it's so. But look how funny it is, right? Look how funny it is. Police pension, which other cops will be raping on a yearly. They be going through police pension. They be raping it. Right, so it's like you raping other cops for their money and for their pension, but it's like you cops is running down the street mad at us because other cops is fucking you.
But not only that, you know where that money comes from now? The money that we pay now when they have those settlements, because that's how, like, if you look at the Breonna Taylor situation, she didn't get justice through them being held accountable. The only modicum or semblance of justice she gets is them getting a settlement, which, people have different thoughts on that. But that money comes from taxpayers.
Yeah,
and so I'm like,
that should have came out of the police pension. But
why are people not irate? Like, you not taking money. You know how white people go hard for their money. It's like, that must not be public knowledge, or like it must not be in their consciousness. But honestly, it could be, because it's like, oh yeah, we'll pay a small tax for that. That's nothing. Those niggers, we don't. You know what I mean? Right. That could just be the perspective.
Right. That's America's thing. No, the first thing is to get into the everyday working person's pocket. It's never about the rich or any of that. All this other stuff or whatever. It's about all this. This is why. I mean, this is a different topic, but still, it's like all the money that's being thrown out here for everything. It comes out of the taxpayers' pockets. It don't come out of the rich pockets, none of that. It comes out of our pockets. And yet, we get the short end of the stick every time. Every time.
Speaking of that, You brought up the whole Obama talking about defund the police. I don't know how you feel about that, but I agree with Obama. I know Shaun White was criticizing Obama pretty heavily. I don't understand the argument. I understand like defund the police, right? I know what it means, but you got to think about society. The way people interpret things, it just makes your end goal harder to get to if the way you say things is throwing people off. Like we live in a whole society where we always going to say, oh, I'm triggered, or this, you can't say this because it triggers me. But then when we're trying to accomplish something, we want to ignore all of that certain things will trigger people.
So my thing about it, and I hear exactly what you're saying, don't get me wrong, but I think it very much, harkens to Malcolm versus Martin, W.B. Du Bois versus Booker T. Washington, and always that like, okay, we're going to be more palatable for the white person so that they can, so that they're not offended. We're not going to take the violent approach. I don't think
it's that though. I'm gonna let you finish, but I don't think it's that.
I do think it's that because it's not. Okay, here. Let me give a clear language distinction. Nobody is saying abolish the police. It is defund, and if you look up what the word defund means, is that it is redirecting resources. Nobody is saying there's no reason why people should think that that means get rid of the police in their entirety, which that might not be a bad idea. But frankly, it's like if the system is not working, we are far past the point of needing to comfort people or to be politically correct or to watch our language. There's too much blood in the streets for that. Like we are so far beyond that point.
Well, see, I get that. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I hear what she's saying. I hear what she's saying. I mean, that kind of goes along with the lines of how people misinterpret. I think purposely misinterpret, like say Black Lives Matter, the way how they go into that or whatever with that. So it's somewhat in the same sense, the same type of thing. It's like running away from immediately what we're talking about because you don't want to face facts of what's the problem. You know what I'm saying? So I understand what she's saying, and I'm with that.
Yeah, my only thing with that is like Black Lives Matter. There's no real other way Black Lives Matter. Like that's all we're saying. That's the bare minimum. Black Lives Matter. Like defund the police. Even when I first heard that, defund means to take away money. So when people defund, they think that's if police don't have money, then there's no police. Like they're not.
But I think the way you're looking at it, that's a small frame of looking at it in that particular. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is, what is the reason why people are saying defund the police?
That's what I'm saying. It's about semantics in this case. It is about
and I think even like the likes of you can break that down and understand what that is. But I think a lot of people, when they hear it one particular way, they're immediately taking it for that particular thing, as opposed to dissecting exactly why it's being said. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah, and I think the bar is too low for human beings in general. Like at the end of the day, get a freaking dictionary. You have a cell phone, look up the word. Don't just make assumptions, ask questions, try to figure it out. But also you need to like, people need to feel the way, because that's the only way we are going to have a transformation. We're going to have systemic change. The systems that exist, they thrive with people just being comfortable and people like slowly getting comfortable and getting used to something. We need a revolution. So I'm down with us saying whatever is going to cause people to be, you need to feel away. How do you think I feel? How do you think I'm psychologically impacted by seeing this woman bare-breasted in front of all of these men, completely disregarding her humanity and this is her home. Like nothing is sacred. And so, and now we sit here talking about defund. Defund the effing police.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I understand. So this is where, to me, it becomes almost like a distraction. And it's almost like COINTELPRO. It's like, these are the distractions that always get us off the actual end goal that we all want, because it causes so much infighting. Now you got people who want the same outcome arguing about a phrase or a term that we use.
But no, I'm with you with that. But I think the fight is not amongst the people that's on the same side. I think the fight is with people who really feels differently on one side as opposed to the other side. Like me and you, we're not gonna go back and forth and fight on this because we're on the same page. We might somewhat see a subtle look on it, a different look on it, but we still feel the same way. So we're not going to box about this. But then there's people out there who actually feel differently when they hear defund the police, feeling like, oh, why should we get rid of the police? What if they're not doing anything wrong? Who's going to serve them? Who's going to sit there and protect this country if we defund the police? Like, motherfuckers, you serious right now with what you're saying?
But that's my point, though. Like, people on the same side who want the same thing, we now have to have this debate because we already put that terminology out there, which is causing, and some people who are fighting for the same cause, they're seeing it as it's delaying our progress.
You think all right? That's
the debate.
All right. So when we talking Black Lives Matter, right? Let's say with the Colin Kaepernick situation, right? Because the reason why he took a knee was for situations of like what we're talking about with this woman who had police run up in her crib. Yeah. You know what I mean? The injustice of what police is doing. You know what I'm saying? But people that's against that seen what he did and felt they didn't even point out the reason as to why he did that. They just said he shouldn't be kneeling during a game. He's disrespecting the flag. He's disrespecting they went completely against what the point of why he was doing that.
I get your point. You're saying that to a certain extent, no matter what you say, there's going to be people who oppose whatever terminology we use. And I get that, right?
But it's not just the terminology because it's explained when we use the terminology. They just hear the term and jump off. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm not just going to say defund the police and not say what I'm saying.
But you got to understand human nature, though, the psychology of people, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's exactly this whole thing about, because it's like
we agree though.
All right. Look. All three of us is arguing the same point. We're on the same page, but we're making different points, right? So we're not against each other because we're saying the same thing, realistically. It's just we're saying it in different ways. But there's another group that it could be three other people we're talking against right now that are against what we're saying because they don't feel like the police are doing anything wrong. Even they can hear the terminology and still they can hear the terminology, what we're saying, what we mean by that, but still feel like the police did nothing wrong.
Well, I'll say this then. I mean, I'll let Tiff because she's been quiet, but I'll say this.
I'm listening.
If I told you that if you did A and B instead of doing D and E, right, it might make your job easier. Mm-hmm. That's the only argument I think Obama is trying to make is that it could
now I have a
make
thought.
It easier.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is we have no historical evidence in this country that it can boil down to semantics. It can boil down to tactics. Regardless, Black people have made very, very, very slow advancements and progress in this country. And I feel like the excuses are on the part of the institutions that are not held accountable. It's like, well, yeah, we shouldn't be arguing one another, but this conversation is, to me, it's a moot point. I don't defund the police, run up on the police, twerk on the police, whatever. There needs to be something different that happens. And so my thing is like, I think that within movements and within communities, we can't allow ourselves to even waste the energy because we get to have differences of opinion. We get to have different approaches, but all approaches are needed is what I'm saying. Like you can say defund the police, you can say abolish the police, you can say, I don't give a F, I'm gonna do community policing. You know what I'm saying? All of that is necessary because Black people are not a monolith. We have so many different perspectives and approaches and experiences and needs and wants and desires. So it's like, that's where I think it comes down.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And I think with Black people, every time we revisit these situations, we come at it with semantics and aggression, and rightfully so, because we're going through it. Yep. So, and the thing is, everything, here's the thing, and I don't think white people lack empathy. because I'm pretty sure they see the things that go on. They just don't know how to talk about it as far as if they're with it, because it's something where it's just like, it's you watch something on TV and it's like, holy shit. Like, you have a point of view, but sometimes some of them might feel like anything I say, I might offend somebody. I might offend somebody.
I want to say this too. Obviously, you got a lot of white allies. So, when you say white people, it comes across like all. But that's the thing Tiffany was saying.
I only say white people because that's the immediate other that that we have a problem with.
I'm just clarifying what you're saying, though. You don't mean.
Look, I'm not even taking back what I'm saying. Because I feel like.
I'm not saying you take it back what you're saying. I'm saying for the viewer.
Right. And cool. And that's and see, and then there go me, my terminology saying, right, I understand what you're saying, but because they're the immediate, side that I have that we're talking about is why I say them. And and I understand because there's other parts that play in this game. But right now, we're talking about them.
No. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, even while we're talking, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying you don't mean all white people. You don't mean all white people.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just saying we're talking about a particular set of white people who we're talking against right now. Because yes, I can say I don't have an issue with all white people. I know some white people, and for the most part, they, the ones that I know, they cool. I have no issues with them. Some of them I don't necessarily just look at them as, oh, this white dude or this white chick or whatever the case is. They're people. Every group, black people, white people, Asian people, whoever, there's some rotten apples in every group. But I'm not looking at every group because of those rotten apples. But I'm speaking against those rotten apples. And right now, the rotten apples are in the white core. That's it. Yeah. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I want to hit up what Ryan has said, because actually a part of my job is I have conversations with people of all identities, and white people don't want to talk about this. And part of, and I think it's even the white people who are like down with the movement, with the shits, as they say. And because it's like white people, I always say that white people just have a lot to lose by even having the conversations and making the acknowledgement, because you almost are better off just pretending to be oblivious and acting like you don't know what's going on. Because once you really develop consciousness and get quote unquote woke about what's happening, then you can't accept it. You got to do something different. You got to think about who the people you are associating with and what they're doing and how you are contributing to upholding white supremacy and white toxicity and white fragility. You have to make a different set of choices. And, it's not easy work to do, but it's the only way. Black people can have boots to the ground every day, all day, but white people hold the power. They hold all of the things that we are trying to dismantle. And so without them being willing to have these conversations and be uncomfortable, how do you think I feel seeing people die, senselessly and like this? And when I say state sanctioned violence, it's like, I want to be clear that I can be killed tomorrow and the people who kill me can do so with impunity. Like, they will meet no consequence. How do you think that shapes the way I interact with the world, show up to the world? All you have to do is have some conversations, be a little bit uncomfortable and make some different decisions. Your life is not inherently at risk. So I'm willing to say white people, because it's the vast majority of white people who have to do something different.
All right, one last thing I want to talk about. There's a new movie coming out from Nate Turner. I think it's a Spike Lee joint.
Yeah, I heard about it. I ain't see the trailer or nothing like that yet.
Yeah, you got to see the trailer. I'll tell you basically what it's about, but I'm gonna show a picture, so the audience can see. It's about a father who loses his son in a routine police, traffic stop.
Mm-hmm.
The police kills his son, so he pretty much takes over a police precinct and holds the police hostage. And he makes a statement to me that was like, it really hit me. He was like, how come in America, they always saying black people can't be violent? But every day, like y'all, like we've talked about, we get violence inflicted on us. So that's pretty much the premise of the movie. He's actually holding the police accountable because the justice and the legal system didn't. And my whole thing in bringing it up is, why wait till it gets to that point for real? Because I think that's what people are saying with these riots, with these protests, is that it's going to get to a point where people are going to feel like they have to do something else because everything that we've been doing hasn't got the results that we wanted.
That's a fact. And me and you had a conversation about this, and we talked about this. This very same thing. And we referenced certain things or whatever, and a part of it sounded funny, but it was real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, just that. Why are you waiting? It's like, you keep doing what you're doing. It's almost like you're hoping that this happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you hoping that this happens. You want to just
poking the bear.
In a way, like the media wants it. It's like everybody wants it. They want to see like a black dude hold a news station hostage, or a supermarket, a bank, something. Like, I don't want the money. I don't want what's in it. I'm just tired of what's going on right now. So you know what? I'm gonna just start randomly doing ish because I'm PO'd. I'm done. Like, I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of not being able to live life comfortably as far as just being able to live my life. I'm not saying I'm mad because I'm not rich, but I'm mad that I have to fearfully go outside every day. And when I see like them red and blue lights behind me, I'm in fear for my life.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's James Baldwin who says, like, people should be glad that black people just want justice, that they don't want revenge. And to your question of why can't black people be violent, like, that then begs the question, why can't black people be ghetto? Why can't black people be sexual? Why can't black people be uneducated? Why can't black people have joy? Why can't black people be Republicans? Why can't black people have a difference of opinion? And it's because there's this impossible, inhumane almost standard for what black people have to be and how we have to present ourselves in order for us to be sort of quote unquote worthy of basic human decency.
Yeah. Malcolm X did something like that. Malcolm X.
Absolutely.
That's natural to protect yourself and your family.
Right.
I think we talked about some heavy topics, but some things that needed to be said. Even places like we said earlier that we may have a difference of opinion, but it's still, we want the same end goal. Like, as far as like defund the police, you know, my opinion is it could be something like reallocate funds or something like that. But basically it's the same thing. We want the same thing. So for anybody who watched this, thank you for watching the video. Please hit the subscribe button.
Like, comment, hate, whatever, share it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And we'll see you guys next time. All right.